Hello friends, welcome to Azure. In this video, we'll talk about database options available in Azure. Now, Azure provides a wide variety of options to choose from. It provides relational database, it provides NoSQL database as well. Now let's talk about the relational database. So we know a relational database follows a predefined schema. It contains table and tables have related information. For example, we have a table called employee here. So this particular table will keep employee information. Similarly, we have another table called department, which will keep department information, right? And if you see here, like let's talk about this one, department underscore employee. So this particular table only can contain 3 columns, and we even know the data types, right? So this is how do we go and create a relationship between the data in RDBMS, in relational database, right? And to support relational database, Azure provides multiple options like Azure SQL Database, Azure Database for MySQL, and Azure Database for PostgreSQL. So we'll talk about each one in this video. Now let's talk about NoSQL database. When we say NoSQL database, it means there will not be any predefined schema and there will not be any relationship. All right. So the database, the NoSQL database, doesn't care about the type of the data or fields it contains. Azure provides Cosmos DB, which is a NoSQL database. So we'll talk about Cosmos DB later in the video. Now let's talk about the Azure SQL database. So Azure SQL database is, you can say it's a cloud version of SQL Server, and Azure provides it as a platform as a service. So platform as a service, it means you don't have to worry about the underlying infrastructure. You just need to worry about the database, tables, and the data in the tables. That's it. SQL Server is RDBMS. So I hope you know what is RDBMS. So you need to go and create the tables. Like you need to first define the schema, the columns, and the types of the values that columns can contain, those things. And Azure offers 3 different deployment options for Azure SQL database: single database, elastic pool, and managed instance. So we'll talk about all these 3 options while creating the Azure SQL database. All right. Now let's go and see how can we create Azure SQL Server and database in Azure portal. So I'm already here. Now let's go and create a SQL database, MySQL. So I'll just go and search here, Azure SQL database. Okay, here. Now you see I don't have anything, so let's go and create one. So I need to supply the data. Here I need to first create a resource group. So I'll just go and create a resource group. I'll call it as database RG. And here I have to give the database name. So I'll call it as Azure SQL database. And as we don't have any server, there is no SQL server as of now. So I'll just go and create one. Here I have to give a SQL server name. So I'll call it as Azure SQL Server. It should be a fully qualified domain name, as you can see here. And then I have to create an admin account. So I'll just create Azure. Let me just go and put a password. Location I'll keep East US. Okay. Now the next component is elastic pool, which is very important to understand. If you click here, you will see some information about the elastic pool. But the point is, what is elastic pool? Elastic pool is like you can go and create multiple database servers, and all those servers will make use of same underlying resources. So when you want to save something on the resources and you want to reuse those resources, it's better to go and make use of elastic pool. So elastic pool, there can be multiple database servers, and all these servers will make use of same underlying infrastructure. That is what elastic pool is. So now if you go and read, you can read it here. Elastic pools provide simple and cost-effective solutions for managing the performance of multiple databases within a fixed budget. An elastic pool provides compute and storage resources that are shared between all the databases it contains, right? But for now, I'll simply go and I'll use this no, because I'm not going to create another one. Now here, the next option, which is again very important to understand because you will be charged based on this one, it says compute plus storage. Now, so here you need to go and choose your plan. So if I click on the configure, so there are like three options available. One is basic one. So if you see the basic one, I can just go and maximum I can use 2 GB. And if I go next plan which is standard, so here I can just go and use, so I have more here, like the data transfer units I have 3000, and maximum data size is 250 GB. I can just go and increase, and accordingly you will see that the price will be changed. So okay, currently it says that I'm using a free plan, so I cannot use it, and there is one more called premium which I cannot, which is not available to me, right? So let me just go and select basic one. If you see here, we have another option to choose. So this one is virtual core. Again, if you want to have a memory intensive resources, you can like application, then you go and choose this one. So here also we have general purpose, which is very common. There is next one is hyperscale, and then we have business critical, which is not available at the moment because I'm using free subscription, right? So I'll keep the things as it is. Let me just go back. Let me close. No. Okay. Here. So I'll keep the plan as it is, standard S0. And let me just go and click next, which is now connectivity. Let me select public. Add current IP address, yes, because I want to access the database server from my system. So I'll enable yes. And if you do not do so, you will not be able to access the SQL server. I'll keep rest of things as is. Now you see here also it says like, do you want to make use of the existing data? If you want to upload the backup, you can just go and select this one. Or if you want to use the existing data, like some sample, you just go and select this option. But for now, I'll just go with none. Tags, review and create. Now here you can review if you want and simply click on create. So this particular process will create a SQL. Okay. Now, so this particular process will create a SQL server and a database for us. So just wait for this to happen. All right. So now we have the database and server ready. Let's go to the resources. So you can see here we are. Now, if you want to connect this database, here we have some option like if you want to access the database using Visual Studio or Azure Data Studio, you can just make use of these options. Here you can find the information like your SQL server name. There is no elastic pool at the moment and other things. So now what I will do is I'll go to the, okay, before that, like so let's talk about this one, connection string, because you always need a connection string so that you can write your code and you can access the SQL server. So depending on the programming language, you can go and select, for example, if you're using Java, you just go to the second option JDBC and select this particular string. And for PHP, it's here, right? Now let's go to the query editor. So let me log in. All right. Now if you see here, like we have tables, but there is no table, nothing is there. So let's go and create one table. So what I will do is I'll simply go and create a table and I'll call it as test TB. Then I'll go and create an ID, which is in type, and I'll just go and create a name, character 20. Yeah, run. So this particular SQL will create a new table. Let me just refresh. So now you can see here like we have one table test TB. If I want, I can just, I think I'm okay with this. Let me just go and create another one, employee employee table. employee ID, employee name, and let me just go and create one more column called city. Again, let me just go and change it to is. Okay, all right. Let me run this one. Let me refresh. So I can see that we have got two tables. So this is how you can go and run your SQLs. You can create table, you can insert records, you can do whatever you want to do. Right. Now let me just click on this one. So if you see here, we have an option. It says select top 1000 rows. As of now, there are no records, and it says edit data. So let's go and select. Okay, now I can go and create some rows here. It says create new row. Okay, so ID I'll put 1 and name I'll say first. Okay, let me just go and create another row. 2, second, and 3, third. I can save. Now I can run the SQL to fetch the records from the table, and I can see the results here. So this is how you can go and create a SQL server and then database, and then you can create tables, and then you can do whatever you want to do. All right, now let's go back. So here we are done with the Azure SQL database. Let's move forward. Now the next one is Azure MySQL database, which so again, MySQL is also a relational database. So you need to have a schema first, then you can go and create your tables, and then you can do whatever you want to do. Right? It is open source database, and it is one of the most widely used open source database. When you go and use Azure MySQL database, you don't have to worry about the underlying infrastructure. You just need to go and create your MySQL server, and then you start using it. And Azure MySQL database is based on the community edition. So you can easily move your on-premises data to Azure MySQL on cloud, right? And another good part, or you can say an additional benefit of using Azure MySQL database is that your data will be secure when the data is at rest or in transit. It means your data will be secure always, whether it is in the database or while you are inserting or when it is in transit. So your data will always be safe and secure. All right. Now next is try it out. So let's go and see how can we go and create a Azure SQL Server and database in portal.azure.com. All right, so I'm here at the Azure portal. Let's go and create all services, database, and let's go and select MySQL Server, okay, or MySQL Server. Let's go and create one first because I don't have any. So here I have to go and pick the resource group. I'll pick same database RG, and I have to give a server name. So I'll call it as OK Azure MySQL Server. Do you have any backup? If yes, you can go and enable this one, but for now I'll keep none. Location is fine, version is also fine. So here you have to go and opt as per your need. You just go to the configure server, and then you can just select whatever you want. Like we have basic. So when you go under the basic plan, you just have 2 core database, and maximum storage is 50 GB, right? And data retention policy. If you have go for the second option, which is general purpose, which is most widely used, so here you have 4 cores and you have more storage. Then we have another option called memory optimized. Again, it depends on your business need. You can just go and select this one, and you will be paid, you will be charged based on your selection. So for now I'll just go and use basic one because I'm just using it for the testing purpose. Okay, so I'll keep this one as is. Now next is I have to put the admin username and password. Let's move forward. Additional, next, next. So here you can review if you want, or simply go and click on create. So this particular process will create MySQL Server for us. So just wait for this to happen. Now it's done. So we have our server ready. So here we have few things to understand. First of all, you can find your server information here in the overview section. And next, which is important to understand, is connection string. So here you can find the string, connection string, which you can use to access the MySQL server. And in case if you are not able to access your server, you need to refer this particular section called connection string, because here you need to define the IP address which you want to allow to access the SQL server. Now, for now, I will just simply go and click here, add client IP, because I want to access the server from my machine. So you can see here we have an entry. If you want, you can just go and manually add the IP address, or you can also put the range. All right, let me just click on save. If you will not do so, you will not be able to access your SQL server. Updating is done. Okay, let's go. Now you have your server ready, right? You can go and you can access by using the connection string. You can access, you can create database, you can create tables, and if you want to try out something, you can just go and make use of Azure CLI. You can run these particular commands to connect to your SQL server, and then you can create tables, you can insert some records, and then you can fetch, right? So I will share the link with you guys. You can try out. In case if you have any issue, just let me know. So the syntax is MySQL -h is host. So you need to pass the your SQL MySQL server host and then your admin username. So you can find these details from here, from the overview tab. Here is your SQL server and here is your admin login name. So just copy as is and replace the values here. When you will hit this particular command, you need to pass the password, right? So here we are done with the MySQL server. Let's move forward. Now the next one is Azure PostgreSQL, which is again a RDBMS, and here in Azure Cloud we have multiple instances. One is single server and another one is hyperscale, right? So this is again, as I said, it's RDBMS, and Azure Database for PostgreSQL is managed version of PostgreSQL in Azure. So basically, again, Azure provides this as platform as a service, so you don't have to worry about the underlying infrastructure. You simply go and create a server, create your database and tables, and then you're good to go, right? Azure provides fully managed, intelligent, and scalable PostgreSQL server. Now you see again, the another benefit of using PostgreSQL is that it is scale with ease to hundreds of nodes with no application rewrite. So again, this is the very good part when you need multiple servers or multiple nodes to support your business. All right, try it out. Okay, now let's go to the Azure portal and let's see how can we create PostgreSQL. Now I'm here at the Azure portal. Let's go and create Azure database for PostgreSQL server. This one. Let's go and click on the create. Again, as I told you earlier, there are two options, but we'll go with the first one, single server. I have to go and select the resource group. I have to give the PostgreSQL server name. So I'll call it as OK Azure PostgreSQL server. And again, if you have any backup to take, just enable this particular option. But for now, I'll keep none. Location is US version 10. And then this is again very important because you will be charged based on your configuration. You just go here and then you can opt for your plan like basic, general purpose, or memory optimized depending on your need. So I'll keep this one as is, right? Again, I have to go and create here admin account to access the server. Additional settings, next. So here if you want, you can review one more time and simply click on create. So this will create our database server for us. So wait for this to happen. Now it's done. We have our server ready. Let's go to the resource. So again, you can find the server name and admin username here. And if you go to connection string Again, you need always a string so that you can connect by using your programming language from your code, like for .NET, C Sharp, then Java, Node, right? Now, again, here is also one more thing, connection security. So basically, if you do not allow, because currently everything is disabled, you cannot go and simply access the server. You need to allow, you need to put the IP addresses here. You need to add a firewall rules, or you can put a range as well. But now, for example, because right now I just want to access from my system, so I can just simply go and click here, add client IP. So it will add my IP to the firewall rule. So I would be able to access the PostgreSQL server from my system. You can put IP range as well. So it will take some time in updating the connection string. Again, so once you have your server ready, you cannot do much from here from the Azure portal, because there is no option to create the database and tables from here. So you guys can refer this particular link here, and you can make use of Azure CLI to create some tables by using this particular command. It says PSQL, then you need to pass your host name and port and then the admin username. So if you see here, database name, which is PostgreSQL, Postgres, which is a default database, right? So if you want, let me just copy this connection string and I'll update 1 second. So I think, yeah, it will take some time in updating the connection settings. So I will not be able to run the command at the moment, but yes. So let me just put the things here. You need to replace your host server name and your username, which you can find from the overview tab. Okay, it's here. Server name. Let me just go and put here, and your admin username. Okay, so this is your command. Just go to Azure CLI and run your command. If I'll try to do it right away, I will not be able to access because my settings are still in progress here. If you want, I can show you guys here. Paste. I'll get an error definitely. So there is communication error, right? But yes, yeah, this is how you can go and create your Postgres SQL server, and then you can use external tools to access the server. You can go and create your tables, and you can do whatever you want to do. You can also follow this particular like commands here mentioned on this page to create tables, and you can then insert some records, right? Let's move forward. All right, so here we are done with the relational database. Now we have NoSQL database. So Cosmos DB, which is a NoSQL database, and the good part of Cosmos, it is a globally distributed and multi-model database. The reason why do we call it multi-model? Because it provides multiple APIs to access the Cosmos DB, right? Let's see what do we have next. So again, Microsoft offers a hosted NoSQL database system in Azure called Cosmos DB. Cosmos DB supports all the NoSQL database types. Cosmos DB replicates your data globally with a few clicks. And for application, there's a choice of consistency. You can just go and opt as per your need. Like there are 5 ways to replicate the data. One is like strong. Then we have bounded stillness session, consistency prefix, and then eventual. So if you see here, like the one which are in the left side are the stronger ones, and if you see in the right hand side are the lower latency or high availability replication approaches. So we'll talk about each one in the next video. We cannot cover the consistency types here in this video. Let's move forward. Now, as I told you earlier, Cosmos DB supports multiple API types. Like one is core SQL. So basically here you can just go and type SQL like syntax, select a star from your database name. Right. The next one is Azure Cosmos DB for MongoDB API. So this is basically used for migrating a MongoDB database to Cosmos DB. Right? So if you have your current system is based on MongoDB, you can simply migrate your existing database to Cosmos DB, and then you can use of MongoDB API to process your data, to fetch, and you can do whatever you want to do. The next one is Cassandra API. It basically supports for migrating a Cassandra database to Cosmos DB. Cassandra databases are column databases. Then we have Azure Table API used for migrating data stored in Azure Table Storage to Cosmos DB. This creates a key value database, right? And the next one which we have is Gremlin APIs, that is used for migrating Gremlin databases to Cosmos DB. Gremlin databases are graph databases, right? Let's move forward. Now we need to see in action. So let's go to the Azure portal and let's go and create a Cosmos DB. All right, so I'm here at the Azure portal. Let's go and create a Cosmos DB. So I'll simply go and search Cosmos DB, Azure Cosmos DB. Click here. So first of all, we need to go and create a Cosmos DB account. Let's go and create one. Resource group, I'll select same database RG. Here I have to give the Cosmos DB account name. So Cosmos DB API, right? So this is the very important thing. So while creating your Cosmos DB account, you need to go and select your API, like which one you want to opt. So, and you have to choose it right away before you go and create. And you cannot change the API at later point of time, right? So this is very important. So you have to decide before you go and create one. So here we have 5 options available. One is Core SQL, then we have Azure Cosmos DB for MongoDB API, Cassandra API, Azure Tables, and Gremlin. So I'll just go and pick the first one, which is Core SQL. Notebook preview of location. I'll just go and select. I'll keep as is, or I can select East US. Capacity mode. Again, here also you need to select one, which is one is provisional throughput, and second one is serverless preview. For rest of the other things, I'll keep as is. Let's go next. Public endpoint. So here we need to allow access. Yeah, again, I have to enable this particular firewall rule so that I can go and access the Cosmos DB from my system to allow my own IP address. And here we need to go and create a virtual network. I don't have any. Let's go and create one. Okay, Azure VNet. I'll keep other things as is. Let's go next. I'll keep as is. Encryption, next, review, and click on create. Now this creation process will take time, maybe around 10 to 13 minutes or 14 minutes. So I will wait for this to happen first. Alright, so deployment is done. We have our Cosmos DB account ready. Now let's go to the Data Explorer, this particular tab. Okay, so as of now, we don't have, like, nothing is there. So if you guys want, let's go and create a new database here. And so database, I'll call it as test DB, and I'll keep everything as is. So you can see here creating a new database is done. Now it's working. Okay, so we have database is ready. Now let's go and create info, which is my container ID, and I have to give a partition. So key. Let's go and click on OK. So now we have our container ready. So if I go and run the SQL to select star from this particular container, let me just go and run. So there is nothing. We don't have anything in this particular container. Now what I will do is let me just close this one. Let me just go back to the Cosmos DB. So what I will do is I'll make use of the existing database so that I can complete this video. So let's go and start with sample, which is here. If I expand this one, so here is a container called persons, and if I expand this one more, I should see some more items like data. So let me just go and run SQL here, select start from C. Okay, so here you can see that we have 1 2 3 4 items in the container. So here you can set 1, 2, 3, 4. Now if you see the item data, you see like we have first name is and there is an ID. Rest of other things are like auto generated for each item. If I go to the select one, second one, and then same for the third, so Ava 44, and rest other things are auto generated. So this is how basically Cosmos DB keeps the data in the form of like documents, you can say. There are items and then you have, so basically it's a one document. So for every single record, the document format is same, it is a JSON data. And now if you guys remember, here we have opted for the SQL API. In this, it means that we can simply go and run SQL like SQL queries here also. Like select start from the container, let me run this one, you will see the results, right? So this is how you can go and make use of Cosmos DB. So basically the intention of this video is to make you familiar with the different options provided by Microsoft Azure to support the RDBMS and NoSQL database. Thank you for watching. Bye.